whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
Welcome to Talking Horror with Jamie and Nikisha.
Hi, I'm Jamie.
And I'm Nikisha, and this is Talking Horror with Jamie,
And Nikisha.
where we share our love for spooky things and talk horror through the lens of human behavior. Welcome, everyone. Such a fun time. Pew, 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 pew. Halloween sounds. I don't know what that means. Werewolves and
werewolf bar
ghosts
mitzvah.
and
Spooky, scary.
spooky season. Spooky, scary. Yes. Spooky, scary skeletons and whatever that song is. That one is. Because we are gearing up to get ready for this fantastical of fantastic Halloweens, which I just need to point out that I just found out Halloween is on a Monday, which is perfect for me and my profession.
Oh, yeah.
Because that is my day off.
Yay!
So I'm figuring out how I want to spend it, if we want to throw a party or something or whatever, but we have the day off. So super excited about that. Very stoked. But today, to get us in that spooky mood, we are talking about the 2007 anthology horror comedy film, Trick or Treat. I don't know what that voice was, but I also just love the fact that it's Trick or Treat.
Mhm.
It's not or. It's just the letter R. So, R. Actually, yes, which reminds me, I just watched the Parks and Recs Halloween episode, and Ron Swanson always dresses up as a pirate.
Oh, yeah.
And that is his only costume,
Yeah.
which is the best. But yes, Trick or Treat. It is directed by Michael Dougherty and produced by Brian Singer. This film stars a bunch of people because it's an anthology, guys. But I would just say that some of the actors that I recognize, and y'all can tell me which ones you recognize, but I recognize Dylan Baker solely because, not for Spider-Man, but because he was Catherine McPhee's dad in Smash. If you watched the musical TV show Smash.
Yes, we did.
Good old Smash.
Rochelle Aites, Anna Paquin, we love her, and Jean-Luc Bilodeau, who was on Baby Daddy on Freeform. Did you ever see that show?
Oh, wow. Freeform.
Yeah, I know. Pretty good show.
No.
But those are the people I recognize. Did y'all recognize any other actors in this that I have not stated?
Yeah, the couple at the opening, Leslie Bibb. I
yeah.
know.
Yes.
And then her husband was on Battlestar Galactica. So I mean, Battlestar Galactica. I watched that. And
take it over to the Nerdverse, Brian.
Yeah, I know. Sorry. Wrong podcast. Sorry.
It's all good. Beautiful.
There were some other ones. Oh, did you said? Oh my God, I almost said Logan Roy. Brian Cox.
Good job. Oh no, I didn't say that.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Wait, who was he?
The bus driver.
Oh yes.
Do you watch?
Beautiful.
Plus,
do you watch Succession?
I don't. Should I? I should.
Yeah, always.
Oh, it's so good.
Okay.
What were you saying, Jamie?
TV shows.
Also the kid from Bad Santa.
Oh, I've not seen
the kid
Bad
who
Santa.
smashes the pumpkins. Wait, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
well,
failing
we're
at
focused on Halloween, so
Right.
Christmas will have its own time. We're not here for Christmas right now.
Right. We're never here for Christmas. It's Halloween 24/7 here on this podcast. Grand. Well, yes, we'll be talking all things Trick or Treat. So if you have not seen it, you should go watch it. It's pretty cute. And then come back and listen to us dissect it, discuss it, and do all the things. And are there any trigger warnings for this movie, Jamie?
Sorry, I was too busy miming everything that you were saying.
I love that.
There are a lot of insides on the outside.
Mhm.
There is lots of child murder in this.
Yeah.
There are there's references to assault. There are lots of like spooky, creepy imagery. But yeah, mostly the child murder stuff. That's bad. That's probably one of the worst things.
Absolutely. So if you're not into any of that, please pass. on this one. Listen to
Yeah,
our
watch one of the
suggestions.
other spooky anthologies that we'll probably recommend.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. I really dig. I will say, I really dig a spooky anthology, and I mean, I'll get into like in gripes of this, but I just want to say I do like that there was a through line in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So before we get into everything that is Trick or Treat, let's just talk about what we've seen, what we've done. I.e., I'm just going to talk about how I went to Spirit Halloween for the first time
Yay! That's all I want to
this
hear
Yeah,
about.
yeah,
season.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And I will say, the the fact that so many things are already sold out and it's not even October yet is pretty wild. So when I walked
Wow.
into the Spirit Halloween, there was a lot of stuff that just off the racks. And I was surprised to see, I don't know why I was surprised, but I was surprised to see Stranger Things 4 stuff up, mostly because, like, how do you dress up as you just dress like the 80s? So why is there an actual costume for
Hmm.
that? And it wasn't like a Hellraiser's t-shirt, there was a full 11 80s outfit in the little plastic packets. And
Sure,
I was just
yeah.
like, what? And it's not even
Interesting.
the one with the waffle, in the dress that was the first season. Like, I get that, great, but why would you want like an 11 80s outfit? Just like go to the thrift store, go thrifting, and buy an 80s outfit, and you're like, yeah, this is my outfit. It's Stranger Things season 4. You get it. But I just love roaming into that store. I was probably there for like an hour. Just looking at all the things. I bought 2 t-shirts. I wanted some more Pop Funkos. They had the um
The Sanderson
Sanderson
sisters.
sisters.
I mean,
Yes.
let me see which Funkos they had. I mean, they had the Sanderson sisters. They have Billy.
Billy.
Um, they have some the Trick or Treat ones. They have
Oh, they didn't have that at the
oh,
one I saw.
when
Yeah.
we went, they had one of the kids on the bus in the clown mask there as
Oh.
well, and I think there's also a rare that you can find that's a Spirit Halloween exclusive. That's a
Hmm.
blacklight killer clowns from outer space, one of those clowns. But
Nice.
I mean, let me check online. I don't know.
If you need to find a Funko, Brian is the go-to guy for that. But
Mm-hmm.
I will say that just being there put me in all of the great spirits. It also, I get so mad when I go through there and any, Marshalls or Bed Bath & Beyond that has all of their Halloween stuff up as well, because it makes me just want to have a house, magically poof in this economy, have a house,
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
just
In this
so
economy.
that I can decorate it with all of the things. I want an Annabelle doll. I want a full-size Chucky doll just outside holding the little bowls to put the candy in, the candy holder. I want all of the spiders and the things jumping out, and it's the zombie babies. That's what really got me. I was like, why the babies got to be zombies? What?
Oh my
Truly just,
god.
spiders coming out of their mouths and there's one baby like eating brains. It's like, this is really intense. What are y'all going through? We need to
what
dissect that.
what oh,
Uh,
first of all, did you play with all the stuff, like make the things pop out and like the interactive stuff, or
So all that stuff was turned off. Like you couldn't do it. It was set up just
oh.
to see the size of it, but you couldn't actually play with all those things. So I was really
Hmm,
upset I couldn't do the little spider that jumps out at
sure,
you. But did y'all win? Did y'all do some of that stuff?
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
What
we
was your
oh man,
favorite?
well, I don't like
So
animatronic that
many.
they had.
Yes. Hmm.
There's
Uh,
that really tall guy.
oh, he was freaky deaky. He was
Yeah,
freaky
he's very
deaky,
tall.
man.
Too tall.
Too tall, some would say.
That's what was
Um,
scary about him. He was just a little too tall.
he was too
Yeah.
tall. It was actually an employee. No, uh, I loved. Oh, I love the one. There's like a skeleton that like pops out of the basket, or like he's in like a burlap sack,
Oh,
because I
Mm.
stepped on it knowing that it was gonna like pop out, and it still
yes.
scared me.
It happened very fast, to be
That's true.
fair.
Like
Okay.
I don't know if this was done on purpose, but like the timing was off. You know how like you step on
Mm,
it, and then like you think you have like a certain amount of time before it pops up, or it's going to be immediate. It's like
yes.
it popped up in between the beats, and I didn't expect that.
See, that's why you have to buy it. If it scares Brian, then it's in the cart.
Mm-hmm.
It's going
Mm-hmm.
home that night.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
them's the rules.
it's gonna be one of those situations where like it like I'll be getting up to go to the bathroom at like 4 a.m, and then like I'll go into the bathroom and like there's this skeleton popping out of a burlap sack and
Oh,
Oh my god, that'd be so
that
wait, Nikisha,
mean. Let
what?
me buy it immediately.
Yeah, immediately going online. Beep, boop, boop, boop. What t-shirts did you get?
So, okay, the one that I really wanted was Big Trick Energy, but they were sold out of that. It's my favorite. So I got Hollow Wasted, where the pumpkin is like throwing up pumpkin guts. And then I got a Dreamland one, and it was just Freddy Krueger.
Mm.
I had to limit myself to 2 because I would have bought one of everything that was in my size. But it's like let me just get 2. And then randomly at Bed Bath and Beyond, they had all of these skeletons in yoga positions. And so I bought one just for my dressing room. Just have a little uh skeleton doing his meditation,
Oh, I love that.
Just a reminder of spooky season, and also meditate for your
Yeah.
own peace.
And I love Jamie got a t-shirt. I love the t-shirt she got.
Mm-hmm.
What was the t-shirt again? I think I
It was
saw it, but
yeah, I wore it for a different recording.
yes.
It was it was Ghostface, and what did it say? Now I forget. Why does my brain do this to me?
It was like horror movies and chill or something like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes. Well, see, that's why, guys, you have to follow us on YouTube so you can see the things for
Yes.
yourself. So even if we forget, you just go back and you've seen it, and it's all good.
I
You know what we're talking
will
about.
forget.
Them's the
That
rules.
is a fact. Them's the rules.
Them's the rules. Well, speaking of rules, because there's so many
Mhm.
in this movie, and I would love to dissect the
Mhm.
ones that you guys knew about or found out through this movie, but we need a plot summary of Trick or Treat.
What's the plot?
Before we get into
Yes.
it, whose turn is it?
Mine.
Why don't we? Okay, hear me out. Why don't we
Oh, God.
all do it? Because there are multiple plot lines, and we just like every 30 sec. No, that's only every 20 seconds we'll pass it to someone else, and
Okay.
I'll keep time, but I'll make
Mhm.
sure that like we're passing it to each other.
This is gonna be
Mhm.
great, guys.
Mhm.
I think that's not
This
going to
is
work, but we're going to
your
try.
cheeky way of trying to
I
get us
like
all
it.
to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And here we go. Nikisha starts. I didn't say. I'll start. Hold on.
I was gonna say, wait, who goes
Who's starting?
first?
Okay. It'll be Nikisha, Jamie, Brian, Nikisha, Jamie, Brian until we get to
Okay.
the 2 minutes. Okay.
Okay.
And Nikisha, go.
We open up, it's Halloween, people are trick-or-treating. There's this couple who is over it. They get to their house, and the woman is saying, "Oh, let's take down the decorations because my family is coming." And so the guy goes upstairs, and while she's taking down decorations, there's this somebody jumps out of nowhere and kills her.
Switch.
And
And then we get cut to a kid who's stealing candy from a candy bowl, and it's this principal, and he's talking to him about respecting the traditions. And then the kid dies because apparently he poisoned the candy. You're supposed to check the candy before you eat it, but how are you supposed to check it for cyanide? Nobody tells you this. I'm still confused. Somebody clarify this.
Switch.
And he buries the body.
So he buries the body in the backyard. The next door neighbor comes out and is just like, "What you doing?" He feeds a finger to the dog. It's gross. And then the son comes home from trick or treating, and he's like, "Dad, can we do some fun things? Can we carve a pumpkin?" He's like, "Hold on, you little brat." So then they end up carving the pumpkin together, but we realize that the pumpkin is actually the kid's head. Switch.
And then there's a whole bunch of girls who are doing sexy costume Mean Girls style, and they're trying to find some boys to go to a party with. And I think it switches to another story at this time, but I'll just finish this storyline.
Yeah.
And
Switch.
so
Am I finishing this storyline?
yes.
There's a man that's following Anna Paquin, and she gets him before he gets her, and then you find out that her and all of them are werewolves, and then they shed their clothes and their skins, and
Switch.
they're eating all of
Okay,
everyone.
so there are these kids who are trying to collect pumpkins because they need to go to a quarry or something like that, where we find out that there is a bus from the past who all the kids died because the parents wanted them dead, and the bus driver survived, and we find the bus driver was the next door neighbor, and the next door neighbor gets attacked by Sam, who's on my shirt if you're watching. He's also a guy in a burlap sack on his head, and then the kids come back to kill the bus driver because he's him. Okay, I don't
Yeah. Listen, I think that went way better than we thought that was going to go.
We missed like a whole thing, right? Or like
Wait, which story did we...
No, we got them all.
You did? Oh, you finished? Okay.
Yeah.
I know.
He did...
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
He got to the bus and the kids, you know.
Yeah.
And that's the plot.
Fantabulous. Well, let's talk about our relationship with this movie. I think, Brian, you have a special relationship with this, so you talk to me about this movie.
I don't, but I'll go first. It's
Oh.
okay.
No,
I
tell
made that
us
up in
why
my
you
brain.
love this movie.
I only watched it for the first time a couple years ago. Matthew Woods, who we have on the podcast, used to do. Maybe he still does. I don't know. Monster movie nights. He'd invite friends over every Monday during Halloween, or during the month of October, excuse me. And he would put on a surprise movie. And the night that I happened to go over a couple years ago, he was playing Trick or Treat. I'd never seen it before, and I just had a blast. And that kind of started my love for anthology horror. We'll talk more about that when we go in likes and gripes and things like that. But this is only my second time watching it, and it always surprises me that this is the only one there are no sequels, because I feel like Sam, especially Spirit Halloween, is everywhere. I'm wearing a shirt. Like Jamie has the Funko Pop behind her. You know, like Sam is everywhere, and he's only in one movie. Like there've been a lot of like legal issues and production issues and stuff like that, but that's crazy to me.
That is, because you would think that I've seen this figure throughout the years of going to Spirit and all the things, and Jamie is showing her wonderful Pop Funko for people to see on the YouTubes. But in watching this movie, it was so crazy to think that, I mean, he does have a big part in it because it's one of the stories in the anthology, but it's also crazy to think that there isn't more, like you said, Brian. Sorry, I don't know why I made that in my head. I thought that you had like, this was your movie, but that's Monster Squad. We'll get to that when we get to
we'll get to it.
Jamie, have you seen this before?
Yes. I don't remember when I saw it for the first time. I definitely didn't see it when it came out. It came out in 2007. I was graduating high school back then.
Me too.
You know, living my life. So I don't remember when I watched it, but at some point I learned about these like horror anthologies, and this was on the list, and I watched it, and I really enjoy this one. This one probably is my favorite horror anthology. Sorry if I'm offending other people. I still very much like most of the other ones. I just think that this one has the best through line, and like the story blends really nicely together. Whereas some of the other horror anthologies, it is like completely disconnected from one another, and then sometimes you get a little bit of in between, but yeah, this one is my favorite. I also do love that there is like, you know, a mascot for this. It's not even a chain for this, just one off
for this movie,
little picture. You know, like Sam is adorable.
He is adorable.
Sam, as the costume, with costume and without costume, is like a giant pumpkin head, is also adorable.
Sam, I am the pumpkin head. Yes. Wonderful. Well, let's get into it with our first segment of likes and gripes.
And now our likes and gripes.
So I'll start this one.
Yeah, you haven't seen this before. I want to hear everything you have to say.
Yes. So just some context. My life has been real crazy. So I had to watch this in like 2 sittings between like doing shows. But I love an anthology. I've referenced this before, this TV show before, but the Two Sentence Horror Story, you know, stuff. And there's another show called Monsterland on Hulu that is also an anthology, but there is a through line, and so you see some of the characters kind of coming back and doing other things. And um, I don't know, I just I dig it. Give me like a short of horror, and if you can compact it and make it a good story in a short amount of time, that's what's impressive to me, and that's what keeps me coming back to those kinds of things. So for this one, I thought that it fulfilled everything I wanted it to fulfill. Um, as far as being an anthology, as far as it being a comedy, I will say that the whole children bus massacre thing was deeply unsettling. Also because of the use of certain terms that are really just I hate. But to have kind of that through line with the bus driver at the end, which I suspected that halfway through the movie that oh yeah, okay, if we're all connecting this, then the old guy has to be the bus driver. That's just, the cranky to himself guy. Um, and it was nice seeing all of the do's and don'ts, precautionary tales that we've heard about with Halloween, of the razor blades in the candy, which I don't think I ever saw any TV show or movie depicting that. I just remember that being a hearsay thing throughout my community, which was really wild, to think that we're all just, sharing the same stories, living basically the same lives. Um,
Another urban legend, perhaps.
Oh
Another
yeah.
urban legend.
Stay
And it's,
tuned.
oh God. Jamie's favorite. And I actually do want to ask questions, and any of y'all can ask this or answer this. I don't know the story of blowing out the jack-o'-lantern lights. What's that urban legend? What's supposed to happen? Do y'all know that
I
off
had
the
never
top?
heard that one before, but I
Okay.
also like, just from a practical standpoint, like it didn't make sense to me that she wanted to, in like the first part, like Leslie Bibb in like that first
Yeah, the opening scene.
story.
Hmm.
Like who on earth is taking down Halloween decorations
Oh
on
my
Halloween?
God.
It's still
Oh my
actively
God.
happening. Like
Yes.
what is wrong with you? I did not understand that.
Psychopath.
That just doesn't make sense. Like there's still trick-or-treaters out. Like let
Yes,
them have their fun. Like your
absolutely.
mom's coming? Who cares?
Truly.
I,
And you don't have any kids? Like, okay, anyway. Mm.
as we've said during these episodes and doing talking horror, like that's a top that's a top 5 Jamie watching the movie comment where
Oh,
she was like, "What psychopath is taking down the decorations when they get home from a parade they didn't even want to go to?" Like,
exactly.
amazing.
Like all of this, yeah. Like why? Well, he wanted to go. He's
Yeah.
obviously into Halloween.
Yeah.
She's it just like that doesn't make sense to me. I understand maybe not wanting like a fire to start, but then like I don't know, don't use real candles. They have fake ones now. Like put a fake candle in your jack o'
Yeah.
lantern, and if
Or
you're
don't
worried about
decorate as
the
much as you
spirits.
did. Yeah. It
Yeah,
was
yeah. Then like, why go so intensely with your decorations if you're like, well, it took so long to put them up. It's gonna take so long to take them down. Might as well start while it's still October 31st. Like, it's not
They
like the clock strikes midnight and all of a sudden it's like gear up towards semen. I'm not even gonna say the C word here because we are in spooky time. I don't want to conjure any other holidays at this time.
mm-mm.
Like it doesn't work that way. Like let us enjoy the holiday for what it is. And I,
Mhm.
for one, appreciate that Halloween vibes and spooky vibes start earlier and earlier. And that just makes me happy. And to all those people who are sourpusses about us happy people being like, yeah, I can't wait till fall. You're like, meh, it's still summer. Fine, enjoy your disgusting heat. Go sweat outside. I don't care. Keep your sweat away
Yes.
from my jack-o'-lantern candle so it doesn't go out, okay?
Uh and that has
And that
been
has been Parlor Talk with Jamie.
with Jamie.
Come, sit, have a drink. It's parlor talk.
Cuz that was
Woo, okay.
peak parlor talk. Actually, I loved every bit of it, especially the sweat taking out the candle in the jack-o'-lantern. Your sweat is getting in the way of me having my fun in my fall time,
Yes.
okay?
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. And I another last question, just with the storyline with Sam, our poster child, pumpkin person, for this movie. What was the point of him terrorizing that old man when at the end he didn't even kill him? He just took a piece of candy and walked away. Some, please, somebody explain. Why
I
didn't
don't
he
think
just kill
he.
him?
I think it was because he did not put out candy. He doesn't do anything for Halloween. So like when he first started, like when that story first started, he was scaring away the trick or treaters with his dog intentionally. Like he was like
Oh,
the only
okay.
house on the block that like wasn't celebrating Halloween.
Gotcha.
And then that the lawn was filled with the jack-o'-lanterns, and
Mm-hmm.
then other like spooky things started to happen, and then Sam was like bothering him. And then once he received the candy, because he also was saying like trick or treat. So like once Sam got
Mm.
the candy at the end, like that's the only thing that stopped him from like following through with his stabbing, was like receiving the candy being handed out to him.
Oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense. So, like, the moral of the story is you need to participate, or the people will come and terrorize
I
you.
Follow
think
the
I
traditions
Follow the
or
traditions.
face
Yeah.
the consequences.
Nikisha, I think I wrote it down here. You said pumpkin people,
Did pumpkin person
pumpkin person.
po- poster child for the pumpkin person poster child? Yes.
Yes.
Uh, okay, so then that makes sense. So then the fact that old girl at the beginning took down her decorations and she died was because that's why you're not supposed to take down your decorations.
Yeah, don't blow out the
Leave it
I
up.
think it's like don't blow out the candle.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, don't take down the decor.
Yes. And
Always
hand
hand
out
out
candy.
candy.
Mm-hmm.
But like there's rules for everyone. So it's not just like participating in terms of like your responsibilities as a homeowner, which I feel like they should really give you you buy your first home, there should be like a scroll in your house of like rules to participate for
In the community.
Halloween.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it says all of these things. So it's not only as the person who's like handing out the stuff, but on the receiving end, as the trick-or-treaters, uh you shouldn't take more than your allotted candy piece. You have to
Mm-hmm.
check your candy, but again, if someone can tell me how you check for cyanide, I'd love to know. Not I'm
Mm-hmm.
not a scientist. And I mean, I guess like don't prank too far.
Mm.
Like don't
You can't
trick
trick.
too far.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what what was too far in the movie. That prank that the kids did on the girl.
But also, their candles and the pumpkins went out in the fog.
Oh, you're right.
Mm.
That's
You think
another
Forgot
that's
thing.
what it
that.
was?
I don't know, because here's the other thing. Sam was on the side of the road in the flashback. Like I don't know if like Sam's in the flashback, so like is murdering kids on Halloween bad? Like, is that why he's there? You know what I mean? Like, did
Mm.
Sam like say? I'm not like, did the Sam magic save the bus driver so they can get him later? Like, I don't know. I'm making things up as I speak right now, but like, no, but like. I was thinking about the same thing. Like, what is everybody's like rule break situation? Because Sam's not in every storyline.
Right.
He's only really in those three. He's in three of the five essentially. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I think that's interesting.
Well, like you say, do you mean like as a participant or as a witness?
As in, he's only an active participant in three of the things.
Mm.
Yeah.
He's only an active participant in the bus driver storyline, in the
Mhm.
in the bus
Opening.
massacre.
No,
No.
he's a witness.
Yeah. So only
So maybe then
two.
just two.
Just
Yeah.
two. He's only an
Mm-hmm.
active participant too.
He goes trick or treating at the principal's house and gets candy there.
Right.
Mm.
So that's witnessing, or like that's just being. So really, it's only the bus driver in the opening scene.
Yeah.
Because he's also witnessing he's eating candy at the party.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
which is all wild. Just crazy how all that is interwoven and how you can miss certain things. I don't know. It's also one of those things to watch over and over again because there are certain things that you can miss in that aspect of it. Because I didn't even realize I don't even remember him going to the principal and getting that candy because all I remember is the principal cutting off that boy's head and them
Mhm.
carving it like a pumpkin. And me
Mhm.
thinking that he was gonna kill his son. Oh my gosh, that's just starting off so crazy. I just thought when he was holding his son and holding that knife, I was like, okay, what is happening? What are we doing? But then
What
it's
has
like,
Brian and Jamie gotten me into?
yeah. But then,
Murder!
it makes it easier that it was a boy that you killed. That makes sense in my brain.
Yeah,
Not
right.
him trying to kill his son.
Oh, he's killing another boy.
Oh, he's killing another boy. Okay, great, great, great. Cool, cool, cool. Right. Fantastic. Brian, do you want to go on with your likes and gripes of this?
Sure, I agree with Jamie. This is my favorite of the Halloween anthologies, spooky anthologies. I just think it's the colors, the oranges and the reds are just so vibrant in this, and then you have the darker story tones. Like I just think it's beautifully filmed. Um, I think each story is strong. I don't think there's like an actual weak story link in this one. I think Sam, I it both depresses me greatly and excites me that this is his only movie because it makes it more special. I
Mm-hmm.
love Sam. I think the reveal of him at the end is awesome. I like Okay, so let me go through my likes. I love the comic book opening and like that we're like
Mm.
these are like tales like of the like Halloween world. I love that stuff. And I thought that like watching everything drawn out like literally at the beginning was fantastic. This is a much hornier movie than I remember it being. Um
That's Halloween for you.
yeah, that's true. Uh Great line, Charlie Brown's an asshole. I also wrote,
Oh,
you can't check for arsenic. That's like cheating. He's like, that's like Predator being invisible. It's cheating. Um,
cheating. Yes.
I wrote, it's shocking to me that we don't have a million Trick or Treat 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, 6, all with Sam, like different directors, like anything. Um,
Mm-hmm.
oh, a gripe, not a gripe, but like something that similar to you, Nikisha, disturbed me was when the line where they're like, uh, the disturbed kids are the parents' dirty secret, whatever that line was.
Yeah.
Um, very disturbed. That whole sequence was just disturbing in general. Um,
Mm-hmm.
oh man, the pulp coming out of Sam's head when he was shot is just like spectacular production stuff. Um,
Yeah.
the
Yeah. Yeah.
hand on the floor is amazing. Uh, gripe and like again, I cannot deal with leg injuries. Like
Mm.
under the bed slicing, like we saw that. There's we've seen that too much on this podcast. We need to stop
Yes.
picking movies that have like Achilles heels being like
Might they suggest we
sliced.
watch Hostel next?
No, no, no. I've never seen that. Uh
Just kidding. I've never seen it. That's not for
Me
me.
oh
either. Eek.
oh yeah, and I wrote, how is he still walking? Anyway, uh I think that final sequence with the fight between him and Sam is one of the best like final sequences of any movie, like horror movie. I just think it's well choreographed. It's really fun. All of this is spooky, but it's not spooky to the effect that like I can't watch it. Like it's just
Right.
like it really gets me into the Halloween October spirit with like how it's presented. Um and then my only gripe per se, and maybe I missed something, is that why this Halloween? Like,
Mm.
why is this Halloween the Halloween Sam like I guess Jamie's explanation of why he left the bus driver makes a lot more sense than what I had in my head. He was just leaving him for the other ghosts because he knew they were coming because the kids woke them up. Like but Sam by witnessing all of this is kind of like but
Oh.
I think it's the candy thing too. I think if he didn't like receive the candy, I think that's 100% correct. But why this Halloween? Like is I guess my question is why on this Halloween is the bus driver like finally like burning the pictures? You know what I mean? But
Right.
like
Yeah.
why is this
That
Halloween
yeah.
special?
I don't understand why they they did that in particular, but I don't know. Maybe it was like some anniversary or something that we missed.
Yeah,
Or
maybe
did
it's
they
like
say, was it the anniversary of the massacre?
possibly.
Maybe
Well,
not. I don't know.
yeah, maybe it was an even number anniversary or something like that, or I don't know.
Mm,
We'd probably have to watch again. But yeah, that was my only gripe. Like, why this Halloween? Like, does
yeah.
Sam come to this town every year? Is this does Sam like if we had
Mm,
sequels, we would see if it was still in that Ohio town or if it
right.
was in like California next time. Or like, is Sam this entity that just like chooses a town? Are there multiple pumpkin people? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like that kind of thing. But like this movie has its own little. This is the Halloween night where just a lot of spooky things. There's a lot of spooky energy. I think they mentioned that this town is like loves Halloween and stuff like that. So um,
Yeah.
there's that aspect of things. Another like I love that the girls pulled up to the in their opening sequence they pulled up with a New York license plate even though they're in Ohio. I like
Mm,
appreciated that like that little detail of like they're from out of town type of thing. Um
yeah.
but yeah, I thought all the acting was good. I think all the stories were concise. Nothing felt drawn out. It's like a quick
Yes.
watch. I love this movie. Those are my likes and gripes. Thank you.
Yes. Jamie, did you have, I know you mentioned some of your gripes, but do you have any more likes and gripes for this?
Um, I don't know. I think Brian covered everything that I really enjoy about this film. It's just really great, and this is like one of the only reasons why I could ever wish I lived in Florida, so I could go to Halloween Horror Nights at Universal because they like
Yes.
have done trick or treat themed things there, and I want to live in this town. I want to celebrate. I
Yes.
want to go to this Halloween. I've never been to a Halloween parade. I want to go to a Halloween parade. That sounds so
Absolutely.
fun.
Have you done the Halloween at Disney? Not that one either.
Mm-mm.
I know, same. And I'm so mad
Wait, we
because
did it. We went to not Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween
Yeah, I
Party.
don't know if I would count that. That's not like their actual Halloween
Okay, that's fair.
thing. It was like Halloween in the summer, and it was like
oh, okay.
lessened because of COVID. So they didn't really do anything. They had like three cavalcades or something.
Okay.
One was fire. Why was it fire? What was that?
The
It
dragon,
was like a
the
dragon.
left dragon.
Oh, yeah, that's what it
Oh,
was.
yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
That
But
was
I
cool.
wanted like spookier.
Or
Yeah,
yeah, or
I know what
ghost.
you're saying.
Yeah, or even just they do like the Sanderson sisters
Right,
concert at the castle and all that stuff. And
right. We didn't do any of that. We did,
yeah,
Yeah.
however, uh, we did do Haunted Mansion at night, which was super cool.
I
Mm,
love Haunted Mansion.
that was fun. Oh yeah, didn't they have that like they were doing like comedy or something in front of it too?
Yeah, two of the like
Oh,
cast members were dressed up as like ghosts and butler
Ghosts.
ghosts and like and doing like some like fun stuff outside while
bits.
you waited in line to like get in.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I when I worked at Disney for their C word holiday, since we're not gonna say it. But I had to be there October 29th to start the onboarding process. And so, of course, everything is knee deep. But because my onboarding process was for the next week, I couldn't get my pass to go into the park for
Ugh,
free to
what a bummer.
experience the stuff. So I was so upset because I thought that I would be able to get into the park for Halloween and I couldn't do it. So next time we'll take a vacation. We all need to take a vacation and
Group vacation. Group spooky vacation.
yes.
Everybody share this podcast with two other people or five other people so that we can start making that sweet, sweet podcast money so we can go and report to you back from Halloween in Florida. We'll go to Disney and Universal. That's the plan. Everyone share this. Let's go.
Yes.
Thank you.
That'd be fantastic. Okay, well, if we're done with our likes and gripes of this, let's go on to our next segment of brains.
Brains.
Pumpkin brains, pumpkin
Mm.
seed mush brains. Well, this movie is pretty straightforward and it's supposed to be a comedy, so you do lean into some of the not so great decision making. I also do want to point out that n- I did have this question, but it didn't bother me a lot. I just want to know the principal's backstory. I want to know why he is terrorizing these kids, burying them in his yard. Also, why are you then going out into parties and biting people and killing people? Like, can we just have a trick or treat that is the prequel and just the principal? Because I just want to know where his brain is at, where how he got to that point. Aside from that, with the bus massacre situation, which we've all said was very unsettling, my question to you, Jamie, is if there is a parent that is struggling and in need of assistance with their child that might have some form of a special need, what advice would you give that parent?
Yeah, I mean, I would not do what this movie purports.
Exactly.
I would do like the opposite. I mean, the thing is, like, there are a ton of supports out there. I think the challenge is just like finding them and
Mm-hmm.
accessing them.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, knowing that you don't have to navigate these things alone because, like, the resources and supports are out there. There's all kinds of resources. And I think it depends on, like, the need and, how severe the need is. It's like a spectrum of needs. And based on, how intense or less intense some of the needs are,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of helps you figure out which services to access. So, like, um if it's intense, like mental health or like intense behavioral health, like, do these kids need access to therapy, family therapy?
Mm.
Do they need group therapy? Do they need therapy at school? Do they need, are there other needs that have to be met, like developmental needs? Like, if they're not neurotypical, do they need an education plan at school to kind
Yeah.
of help delineate what services and additional supports they need at school? If the behavioral concerns are, like, really severe, there's like more intensive programs that you can send kids to.
Mm.
There are schools that are like specific. I like when we lived in New York. There are school districts that are like specific for kids that have more developmental or like behavioral needs. So, like, in theory, those schools are supposed to be better equipped to be able to support students who are struggling with these needs and have these resources at their disposal. And then again, like, if it's an even higher level of care, like, there are longer term care facilities, there's like respite. So there's like there's a whole spectrum of
Yeah.
things that are out there. I think the most challenging thing is just like how to access them.
Mm.
I mean, like, I think it's hard because, like, being a mental health professional, like, I've been exposed to a lot of these resources, so I feel like I would kind of know where to start if I was like, okay,
Right.
where do I need to begin? What things might I need to access? So I feel like, without having that, like, foot in the door, so to speak, it can be really challenging for parents who, like, are overwhelmed and don't really know what to do. So I like, you're not alone. Like, honestly, Google goes a long way because, like, there are definitely more specific resources in your particular community.
Mm.
But I would say, like, if they are of schooling age, like, start with the school and see, like, what services they already have built into the school system, the school district. And
Yeah.
like, you can go from there. But yeah, and also, like, there are support groups for parents. There's support
Mm.
groups for parents who, might, like, be struggling with parenting children who are dealing with a lot of really difficult things. So like, also making sure that you are getting taken care of as the parent so that you are able to, like, best support your child.
Yeah. No, that's great. With that being said, and now this is going to be even more generalized, so not just kids, but people in general. What in what situation would group therapy be better than individual therapy?
Um,
Just this is for my own knowledge.
yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think it depends. Like
Okay.
I would probably more likely say group therapy in addition to. Like
Oh,
not
okay.
necessarily as an alternative.
Mm-hmm.
And like there's also a difference between like group therapy and support groups. So like
Yeah, yeah.
support groups are more like peer led, where the goal is to like get the support from other people who are in similar situations that you're in, and like, you know, share that empathy with one another and connect in that way. Where group
Mm-hmm.
therapy is like facilitated by a therapist, and like it's there's like, you know, some kind of like theme or whatever. Like
Right.
for example, when I was a wee baby social worker, one of the groups that I ran at the charter school that I was interning at was like a grief and loss group for 8-year-olds. So that's like fourth grade.
Oh, yeah.
So it was like facilitate. I had like had the whole curriculum, and like, you know, there was like a certain number of weeks involved. It's like it was like time bound, and it was a closed group. So like whoever started with the group was like going to stay with the group. No new members would join because that could be super disruptive, and you're like building this therapeutic relationship with everybody at the same time, and like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it you want to like protect that space. And you know, there were things that I was bringing into that group to like help support the kids that I was working with. So like
Yeah.
that looks different from, you know, individual therapy where it's like just the one-on-one stuff. But I would probably say like do both. Why not? You can't go wrong.
Listen, the more help, the better. Is what if you can afford it as well, by any means, get all of the help. Brian, did you have a question for Jamie?
Yeah, I have a question. So in the movie, we find out that the parents of the quote disturbed kids were paid the bus driver to essentially like drive them off the cliff or make them go off the cliff. And the bus driver survives, despite all the things that go wrong. And then essentially they have him still living in the same town all these years later. I guess talk a little bit about like what would make someone stay. Is this a guilt thing? Is this a staying close? Is this a remorse thing? Is this a like we don't really get a sense from the character kind of what he's going through per se. Um maybe we do. I mean let's talk about that. Why would he stay in the town?
Yeah, and just to add to that too, Brian, why would he stay? And also, he's definitely um keeping himself away from society as well. So, if you're staying in the same town and you're also like not even associating with other people, he's not taking care of his house, he's not doing the trick or treating or anything. So, like, why isolate yourself and stay in the same town with all that trauma?
Beats me. Yeah, I mean, I guess like, you know, there's only so much context that we get for this particular person.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, maybe it is guilt, like maybe he does feel badly and like feels, you know, like tied to this is the place where I did this thing. Like, I mean, he already accepted their money, so I feel like that guilt is going to live with him wherever he goes, both because like
Oh, that's
he
fair.
tried to kill them and then and did, and then also like accepted this like, you know, like accepted money on behalf of trying to kill children. So like I don't think that going anywhere regardless of how much money he got is going to like absolve himself of the responsibility and guilt that I imagine and shame that he feels. And so like I guess in that sense, like why go anywhere else, you know?
Yeah, I was gonna ask, does that add to that isolation? Like, that's his trauma response is, okay, I've done this. This is the guilt that I have. So now I'm just gonna stay to myself and not, you know.
I'd also be curious to know what happened in between. Like, was he accused
Mm.
of doing it on purpose? Like, what happened? Did he
Mm.
did he pretend to die? And like, this is someone new who moved to town. You know what I mean? And like, I
Yeah.
just stayed in their house. Like, is this again? Why does he pull out the pictures that night? Things of
Hmm.
that nature would be interesting because that's one of the more interesting storylines to me. And it's fascinating that he still stays in the town.
Yeah, it's kind of like Nightmare on Elm Street, that everybody probably covered it up collectively, because the parents
Oh, I
made
like that.
him,
That like the
you know.
town, yeah. Like maybe
Mhm.
that massacre is why Sam like shows up because the town has a dirty secret like
Oh,
that one. I made
yeah.
that up. I don't know because he was there when they were driving, so like I don't know. But
Yes.
that I like that. I'm into that. I'm into that.
Yeah, we'll keep that. Beautiful. Well, do we want to go ahead and rank these so we can talk about what we liked about them?
Yeah. All right. How do you want to do this? Do we want to do everyone goes, talk through each one of them, and then you rank it, or do you want to like go back and forth? Everyone does their five, everyone does their four. What are we thinking here?
I don't know. I guess everyone, we can just go through our individual top five.
Cool. Nikisha,
Top
you've
five.
never seen this before. I
Yes.
I want to know how you rank these because I'm fascinated. I'm fascinated.
Fascinated. Okay, so my should I go from 5 to 1 or 1 to 5?
Yeah, go to
Five
five
to
to
one.
one. What fun is
Okay,
it when you
5 to
start
1.
with the favorite? You gotta
Oh,
go
okay,
up.
okay, 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 okay. Cool, cool, cool. Uh, so 5 is the opening scene couple. You know, that to me, and I think it's just what Jamie's parlor talk was about. I was just annoyed with them at the beginning because if you're annoyed about Halloween, then I don't care what happens to you. You do whatever. You deserve to die because you don't like this season. So that's 5 for me. 4 would be the Bus Massacre only because of like I said, how uncomfortable I felt, which is the purpose of it, and the purpose of horror. It's not just to scare, but to make people feel uncomfortable. I get it, but just that was a lot, and the fact that the bus massacre on top of the kids bullying that girl, it's just I don't like bullying, so that storyline is for me for those reasons. I have number 3. I just call him Pumpkin Boy. His name is Sam. Yes. Okay. Number
He's a
3 would
pumpkin person,
person.
Nikisha.
Yes, I'm sorry. A pumpkin person because there's no age there. It's just the pumpkin, and that pumpkin looked very ripe. So good for him and his skin
I
routine.
didn't, I
I
didn't
don't
like that at
know. I
all.
don't. So, but I put it as number 3. I don't know. I'm kind of wavering with this conversation because Brian, you talking about the uh the guts and all of the little special effects of the boy is it really is was really cool to watch. Maybe I just wanted more of it to like it more. But my number 2 is definitely the werewolf coven girls because I was just expecting them to all be witches. They all gather together. There's a
Mm.
little fire there, and either witches or vampires. Um, so when they were actually werewolves and shedding their skin, I was like, "Oh, this is really cool," because we don't really see a lot of women being werewolves. I know it's like a stupid societal thing, but media doesn't portray, you know, the women as werewolves in a sense, or at least in the things that I've seen. We're always, either witches or vampires. So
Can I
that was
point
cool.
you to a group of movies called Twilight?
Okay, but the women.
Yeah, no, yeah, not a great example at all.
Yes.
Ginger Snaps is actually a very good one.
Ginger snaps. Not. Don't know. Have to do it. And then my number 1 is the principal because it was just so random that the pumpkin carving was the boy, and the boy was the kid that was knocking over the pumpkins, and the little boy was in it the whole time. And for the line that you said that I forgot, Brian, of what Charlie Brown was, what was the quote?
Charlie Brown's an asshole.
Yes. And I love Charlie Brown. Charlie Brown is my jam. But that was very funny to hear that out of that little boy's mouth, and for him to be like, "You got to help me with the eyes. Let's
Don't
carve a
forget to help me
scary
with the
face."
eyes.
Yes. Just that whole twist of it all, and him getting his just desserts with the werewolf ladies too.
Sure.
I thought that was a nice way to round out his story, even though that kid was just sitting on the steps waiting for his daddy is not coming home. But sorry, also you're also killing people as well. So what's your life going to be like? That kid grew up to be American Psycho. That guy, whatever that guy's name is, that's what that kid was.
Patrick
'Cause that's,
Bateman.
yes, wild.
I mean,
So
let
yeah,
me
that's my
let me
top
check.
three. Yes. Who wants to go next? Jamie.
Is that me? Because
Yes.
the way you're pointing on my screen, it's you, then Nikisha, then
Oh,
me.
I'm pointing to you, Jamie. I want you to go next.
Cool. So I'm probably gonna upset everyone because mine is wildly different from yours.
Giddy.
Okay, so in my final slot, I have the principal.
Grand.
Um, because that one feels the longest to me. And I don't know, it feels like it goes on too long. Like when
Fair.
he's like out in the backyard,
Mhm.
that whole scene bothers me. I'm just like, come on, man, get it over with. Like, speed it up, murder this
Kill the
boy
kid.
and bury him in your
Mm-mm.
backyard. Also, like, your kid needs to shut up. Oh my God, it's stressing me out. Teach your weird future murderer son better.
Yeah. In
Not
general.
ideal, but mostly not ideal because, again, if he's trying to teach someone a lesson, first of all, they're dead, so they learned nothing. And second of all, again, I ask again, how do you check candy for poison? Like, I get checking for razor blades and like other creepy stuff in candy, like Candyman shenanigans. I can do that. I have eyes. I can do that. I'm not. Does it smell different? Because all I smell is chocolate. Somebody riddle me
Yes.
this. Anyway,
Yes.
that's in my last slot. The one after that is the opening because it's very brief. It's too short. So my complaints. I'm very picky. Sorry. So too short, too long. We got to find a nice middle ground. But again, nobody I know is taking down their decorations on Halloween night. You're a fool for
Yes.
thinking that I'm going to believe this. And she gets what she deserves. You should be murdered if you're taking down decorations.
Yes.
So that's in my fourth slot. In my third slot, we have Sam. Because he's so cheeky and adorable, and I love his little pumpkin-y flesh. And it's great. Also, according to Wikipedia, some of the things that he writes on the walls are Samhain greetings, and then I realized, and it clicked, that's why his name is Sam. And Samhain is a Gaelic festival marking the end of the harvest season and the beginning of winter. It's held on the 1st of November, but the celebrations begin on the evening of the 31st.
Oh.
Claps for Jamie. Yes.
Well, claps for Wikipedia, thank you. So yeah, I like that one. It feels very middle of the road. I like that it connects back to a previous one that we got, like multiple little connections, and then we finally get the full thing. I also like it because at this point in the movie, we have already seen the old neighbor being attacked. And so like now it's exciting to like come back to it and see like, well, what happened to him? Did he survive it? Because you don't actually know. So I like that they like resolve it. You see the resolution, blah, blah, blah. Number 2, I have the surprise party. I also really like this one. I like that it's silly that she's wearing a little Red Riding Hood costume and turns out she's a werewolf. Haha, clever. It makes me laugh. It makes me giggle. I also just like Anna Paquin.
Yes.
So it was nice to like see her featured in this. And this is also where you get to see more of like the town Halloween parade festival thing. So I also liked that. but I very much enjoy when the principal gets murked. Happy to see him gone. And as Nikisha says, enjoy his just desserts. Now,
Yes.
before everybody comes at me for choosing Halloween School Bus Massacre as my number one for also being the most wildly offensive thing,
Mm-hmm.
the reason why I like this one so much is because it truly brings me so much pleasure to watch these douchey kids get murdered. Like their prank is so mean and cruel and then like double messed up because they say they're doing a tribute to these poor dead children, but it's like they are taking advantage of this trauma and this like very upsetting thing and using it to prank somebody who also potentially might be neurodivergent. Like it's just all wildly upsetting, but it goes scores to make up for it by just giving them all a really satisfying murder in return. I just it makes me feel so much joy when they all when the revenge is enacted on them. And
Yes.
I also love Lil Rhonda. I loved her witch costume. I love that she makes all of these pumpkins and puts them all in her lawn. I want to hang out with her and carve pumpkins with her. And so for all of these reasons, that is why it's my favorite, even though it's also the most disturbing and the most upsetting.
Yeah. But this one's for Rhonda.
For Rhonda.
We love Rhonda. Beautiful. All right, Brian, give it to us.
I just want to start this out by saying that I love doing this podcast with you two because we just do not have the same like all three of these lists are pretty spectacularly different. All right. At number 5, I have the opening couple
Mm-hmm.
for the same exact reasons the two of you just said.
Mm-hmm.
At number 4, I have the principal for the same reasons that Jamie said. It's a little bit long and all over the place, and it takes a lot of time, and but like I still enjoy it. I don't think it's like a weak link, but like I prefer the other ones to it. Number 3, the surprise party werewolf women. I love the imagery of them like around the fire and at that party, and then you look around and the shots are like, wait, where did all the men go? And then they're, and I guess my question is like, they say it's her first time like in transforming, like she's never done it before. She likes to stay human. First time feeding on a human. That also confuses me a little bit because I know they're going for like the double entendre. Like you think she has never had
Right.
sex before. Like haha, nope, it's a werewolf. Gotcha. Um, but I love it. Um, at number 2, I have the bus driver, and the Sam stuff. I think that I love the Sam. Honestly, ask me tomorrow, and 1 and 2 could switch. But for right now, today, the number 2 is spectacular. The production value, that fight, like all that stuff, is spectacular. Right today, it's number 2 because I don't know why he's looking at those pictures on this. Like maybe he looks at them every year, and he this night he just got a little too drunk and threw them in, or whatever reason. I don't know. Like we said, anniversary.
Yeah.
And at number 1, I agree with Jamie. It's the Bus Massacre. And the reason it's the Bus Massacre for me is because of how utterly effective and disturbing it is, and then how satisfying it is in the end. And it has Sam in it being super cool, like him and Rhonda like nodding at each other, like you
Yeah.
cool, you cool. Like I like that. I think it shows like by I don't know, it feels inclusive because I love Rhonda so much. Like that I like
Mm-hmm.
want to bring her into my group, and like I know where she could be happy. I know I have friends that would love her. We would love her. You know what I mean? Like, and so by providing that like that connection of inclusivity with me as a watcher, juxtaposed against like the bullying in that whole sequence, bullying both in the flashback and in the present, makes me feel spectacular when she makes the decision to like go up with her lit pumpkin jack-o'-lantern.
Yeah,
I it's also
absolutely.
like it makes me feel yucky while watching a lot of that stuff, and I like that feeling, especially because it has the satisfying ending. So that's my list.
Okay. I will say, maybe to answer your question, Brian, about the first time thing, maybe it was her first time catching her own food and feasting on it. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, sure, like her first hunt, if you will.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay, I'm into that.
Yes.
I dig that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm just making that up too, but I
No, I
feel
love
like
it.
that would be good. Beautiful. Well, should we Rotten Tomatoes this?
Let's get into those wild tomatoes.
It's the Rotten Tomatoes game.
So yeah, what do you think this has on Rotten Tomatoes?
Oh, I want to say, I feel like anthologies aren't everybody's cup of tea, so I'm going to say it's 60.
60.
65. 65. 65.
65. Jamie, what do you think this has on Rotten Tomatoes?
I agree with you, but I think that this is I stand by this being one of the better ones.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go high 70s and say 78.
Okay.
This has an 81% on Rotten
Oh,
Tomatoes.
good.
Yeah.
Jamie wins Price is Right rules.
Woo!
So the audience score is only a 71%, but the critics
Ooh.
score is 81%. And the critics consensus is a deftly crafted tribute to Halloween legends. Trick or Treat hits all the genre marks with gusto and old-fashioned suspense.
Yeah.
Cool.
I can dig it.
I love that. Fantastic. Should we do the 4 S's?
Yes.
Yes, is.
Ooh.
Skull, scare, shakes, and suggestions. The Talking Horrors 4 S's.
Okay, the 4 S's are skulls, scares, shakes, and suggestions. We are going to rank them 1 through 10, and then we'll do suggestions separately. Yeah, Jamie, why don't you start? What are your rankings for 4 S's for this?
Yeah, so I'm going to give Skulls a 5, like pure middle of the road. I think some people make, some choices and things that like seem fairly straightforward. I'll never forgive Leslie Bibb for putting away her decorations too early. That's not, I don't know a single human person that does that. But yeah, I don't feel like very strongly one way or the other. So I'm just going to go average. For scares, I'm going to give this a 3. I don't think that this movie is particularly scary. I think it leans way more on the comedy than on the horror, which is totally fine. I would say that again, like probably the massacre scene is like the most disturbing and unsettling.
Sure.
So like that's why I would give it a 3. For shakes, I'm going to give this a 7 because I love this movie and I will recommend it to any and all. It's a great time. I don't think this is one of the most memorable horror anthologies, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Nikisha.
I'm going to give the Skulls a 3 for what Jamie kind of said, but it's, didn't lean into a lot of the mental health stuff. So that's why I knocked it down a few points. Scares, I'm going to give it a 2 simply just for the uncomfortable feeling of the Bus Massacre. And Shakes, I'm going to give it a 6 because I also like this and I would suggest it and I would watch it again next year or tomorrow.
In one sitting.
Yes, in one sitting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Skulls is a 4 for me. Same reasons as you two. Scares is a 3 for me. Because of the Bus Massacre scene makes me uncomfortable and there's some creepy imagery and stuff in there. Shakes, this is an 8 for me. This is an every year like watch that I want to do. This really gets me into the Halloween spirit. It makes me want to go to these small towns with like super cool like Halloweens and It makes me want to dress up, and it makes me want to get into it all. And yeah, so that's an 8 for me.
Yeah.
Suggestions. Jamie, let's start with you.
Sure. So I have two. The first one, so they're both horror anthologies. Um, the first one that I would suggest is XX, which is a woman led, like directed horror anthology.
Nice.
Um, it's from what I remember, it was okay. But I do appreciate that, like, women centric, like we need more women in doing behind the scenes things in film. So,
Yeah.
so if you'd like to support your fellow female identified folks, watch that one. I would also recommend Southbound as another anthology horror. It's not comedic, um, but like there are directors that I really love and appreciate who direct segments in this, including David Bruckner and Radio Silence. So if you'd like to see other things that these directors that we've already covered, like the recent Scream, and other stuff, watch this.
Nice.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it. Do it. Do it.
Nikisha.
I already said my two earlier in this episode, but Monsterland for sure on Hulu. It's actually it's a TV show. It's not a movie, but it's an anthology of horror, and they're all interconnected. And then Two Sentence Horror Stories on Netflix. If you just need a little quick fix, there you go.
Awesome. I have two as well. I'm going with the original VHS. It's just really good. Again, David Bruckner and a lot of those people. The same as Southbound. I really like Southbound too. Southbound has one of my favorite segments of any of these. Uh,
Mm,
and then I'm going out things that just get me excited for Halloween, and like the things you do in Halloween is Hell House LLC. Um,
mm.
it's a found footage like documentary type situation. It's spectacular, it's spooky, and it really gets me into the Halloween spirit, similarly to the way that this does. So those are my two.
Nice.
I have a random question. Has anyone seen Creep Show?
Mm-mm.
No, I haven't.
Me neither. And it's been on my list, but that one's also supposed to be like a very good horror anthology that also has its own like spooky dude.
Okay. Would House of a Thousand Corpses be kind of considered an anthology or no?
I don't think so because I don't think there's
Okay.
like separate stories.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'm just remember. I just
Just
that movie was
spooky
so
people.
random in how everything was
Yeah,
spliced that it felt like it's like what's happening here. But
I
okay,
think the sequel is far superior.
great. I'll have to try the sequel then because I did not like
Hmm.
the first one.
Oh,
Beautiful. Well,
I watched
oh
the
yes.
sequel with Jamie.
Did you like it?
I love the sequel. I think it's really good.
Uh, I did not enjoy my time watching it. In hindsight, in hindsight it's great, but like
Okay.
in while watching it, I did not enjoy myself. But in hindsight, I was like, oh, that's a really interesting, cool movie.
Have you seen the first one?
No.
So you okay? So
I
maybe in
also
comparison, you would have
watched the
liked it.
sequel before I ever saw the first one because I heard the first one just
Mm,
wasn't good. And I
yeah.
heard that the second one was like excellent. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go into it. And like whatever
Just like
happens,
the first
happens.
one.
And it's like having seen both, it's like still those characters, but it's just presented in a very different way that I feel like is really good.
Okay. Great. Well, with Jamie's rec, I will definitely watch for sure. All right. Well, that wraps up our episode of Trick or Treat. You can find us on all of the social media TikTok, Instagram, Twitter at Talk Horror Pod, and now on the YouTubes. Hey, guys. Nice to see ya. And Brian, where can they listen to us?
Sure, you can listen to us wherever you get podcasts. Those things are Stitcher. Those things are Google Podcasts. Those things are Spotify, and of course, Apple Podcasts. Rate and review us there. 5 stars, please.
I thank you.
Also, before we sign off here, just so we are very excited for October and Halloween. We're gonna have 2 episodes a week in October, so get your earbuds ready. We're going to be talking through some of our favorite movies. So we'll be doing
Yes.
Urban Legend. We'll be doing The Monster
Oh.
Squad. We'll be doing Rosemary's Baby. And then we're gonna sneak some other new movies in there, like the new VHS movie, Halloween Ends, of course, and then a couple other
course.
ones. And then we might even do I Know What You Did Last Summer. So definitely subscribe, stay subscribed. We've got some amazing stuff. And then again, always go on to our social media, our TikTok. You'll see more stuff there. We're rewatching all of the Nightmare on Elm Street, or for the first time, and the Friday the 13th stuff. So check us out there.
Beautiful. Well, I mean, we have to sign off with the quote, Charlie Brown's an asshole. And then play the Charlie Brown music, was it?
Great. I can't wait to add that.
Thanks, guys. With
Thanks,
Sam dancing.
guys.